Hello guys and girls, and welcome to round 3 of the VBTCR Championship, the Virtual British TCR Championship, a new iRacing TCR league that brings you wheel-to-wheel action from some of the UK's most exciting race circuits. And we are here at the Silverstone GP layout, a fairly hefty track actually, 5.8 kilometres. I mean, it's a long one for sure, fairly flat, not much undulation, but some very high speed sections, and I'm sure, and very wide actually compared to the first two circuits that we visited here on the VBTCR Championship. For more information about the league, if you're interested, obviously you can see the website there as well, www.vbtcr.co.uk, so go and give that a look at, especially if you're interested in joining Season 2. But let's get Season 1 out of the way. It's round 3, it's races 5 and 6, it's the Silverstone circuit. Let's get started. I'm your host for today, it's Jack Johns, otherwise known as The Racing Line. Unfortunately, Jack Werrell couldn't be with us this week due to personal reasons outside of sim. Obviously, we know real life comes first, so we wish him all the best with whatever he's dealing with. Of course, get your comments down in chat to show your appreciation for Mr. Werrell. On to this though, races 5 and 6. 45 drivers are in the driver's stand-ins. You've got 28 teams all fighting for many points. 2 races each round. First race based on qualifying, and then for the same points, another race, but a full reverse grid of absolute carnage where the quickest drivers start at the back, slowest drivers at the front. And we see some shock results, and there's some decent points across the board. What's the best way to finish? Midfield? Who knows? It's just so chaotic. But there's a lot more room at this circuit. It's a lot wider. So let's see how the drivers tackle it this week. It's going to be extremely interesting, and I hope you guys are ready to strap in for some exciting battles across Silverstone. Before we get started though, let's have a quick look at the championship standings. We got Flaten in P1 with 181 points. Not far behind is Dan Mould and Michael Seal in P3, 136 points. John Siemens and Shane Dunn are drawing on 127 points for P4 and 5. Asher, Denya, Gilman, Jack Johns, Christopher Smith round off your top 10 with 109 points from Christopher Smith, not far behind. Craig Walters, Boston Fuse, Neil Butler, Freddie Hewitt, James Birch, Derek Crowther, Scott Malcolm, Neil Stevenson, Jack Newell and Nick Kent round off your top 20. A lot of people on equal points there. Fraser Garrity, Alfie McGarrity, Tom Holland, Dom Cottenham, Mark McCabe, Dan Thornton, Chris Ems and Hugo Allen round off your top 28 there with 56 points. It's still a decent amount of points. With this amount of drivers on the grid, it's really difficult to score, especially if you're at the bottom end. And there you can see just at the bottom end of the field down to P37 in the points, with 18 points being the last scorer of Fiona Siddons. So there's a few names beyond that with 0 points, but I'm sure they'll be looking to score after this round or onwards in this championship. But now let's have a look at the grid. After qualifying, Flaten gets pole, Damien Harris for Fiercely Forward in P2, Dan Mould P3, Asher in P4, Freddie Hewitt P5, Chris Ems P6, Thor Hagen in P7, Andreas Gilman, Jack Johns, Adam Holloway, Ben Denya and Neil Butler round off your top 12 for the start of this first race of the evening. The rest lines up as follows: Neil Stevenson, Shane Dunn, Sam Hooper, Peter Jones up in P16, Scott Malcolm, Jessica Myers, Chris Smith and Jack Newell your top 20. Chris Smith will be disappointed with that. He's shown good pace across the last couple of rounds, and this is probably his worst qualifying so far this season. Mark McCabe, Tom Holland, Fraser Garrity and Derek Crowther your top 24. And then at the bottom end of the field, James Birch, Ryan Empringham, Dan Thornton, Nick Kent, Alfie McGarrity, Dom Cottenham and Erwin Van Den. I'm sure there's a name that's meant to be tagged on the end there, but it is not showing up on my screen. Let's get started. Let's cut across. Here we go then. They line up on the grid. Excitement is building. They've been waiting 2 weeks for this. It's 2 weeks in between each round, and they are off as they all come down that really wide main straight. You can see Jack Johns in the background there moving over to defend it to turn 1. The 3 impulse cars looking good on the grid as they're side by side through turn 1. That's Freddie Hewitt round the outside of turn 1. He's going to have the inside for 2, and he might be on the outside for 3 if he gets sent, but it doesn't look like anyone's going to send it, and he's going to lead is Freddie Hewitt. Oh, I take it back though. There's a quick little slots his nose in there, and they're going to be going 3 wide into the loop. This is not going to be, oh no, do you know what, fairly safe. Well done boys. top driving there. That's Damien Harris, the number 53 pink car. You can see as the Impulse cars come flying through. They're still side by side coming down this main straight, heading towards Luffield now. You can see them all weaving. Just look how many Audi TCR cars there are climbing down the order. Keep an eye on that timing screen on the left. You can see people swapping left, right and centre. There's a big slide into Luffield. Here they go into the right-hander, still side by side. Damien Harris and Freddie Hewitt, number 71 in the blue car. Damien's going to push him out wide and slots in and takes the move up into P3. You got the Impulse cars absolutely surrounding Hagen there in the middle, who's ruining their this nice scenery of the three cars together. They're not going to go side by side into cups, surely not. No, so you've got one Impulse car leading, and then you've got who is that? That's Ems leading, and then Hagen, and then Gilman and Asher behind. But we're still looking at Damien Harris and Freddie Hewitt as we approach Maggots and Beckett's now. This is where it could get feisty for some. You don't really want to be going side by side through these corners, but it looks like Damien's got a nice run now as we look back at Neil Stevenson. Is he going to make a move? He slots up the inside. There's a bit of contact. He saves it. Can he hold it around the outside of this next bit? Has he got the extra speed, Neil Stevenson, in P15? Not quite. It looks like he's going to get swamped by Sam Hooper as he comes down the back straight now. He's flashing his lights. I don't know if he thought that was a distasteful move from the car up ahead, but I think it all looks fine from where we were. There's a car going slowly there. That's Freddie Hewitt dropping down the order. That'll be a hefty slowdown. He was near the front end, and now look at him down in P18, right at the back of this train as they all come filtering through. Let's have a quick look. Freddie Hewitt. He didn't cut that corner there, but he is definitely, yeah, that is a 100% a slowdown, so he's moved over. Listen to the throttle. You can see everyone come flying through. Painful. It must have been the inside of the Maggots and Beckett section. This is James Birch. Oh, and Chris Smith going side by side through the Vale chicane. Gets fairly tight through there. James Birch keeps it clean. Chris Smith upper position into P20. That's pretty much where he started. Or was he defending from James Birch, who looks like he's got the fastest lap currently of the race on lap 2. Side by side up ahead, and look at that. Chris Smith swoops to the inside. That's going to be 2 positions in 1. Thank you very much. Jack Newell there and Mark McCabe, I think that was. Yeah, coming through to the loop now. So Chris absolutely set that up perfectly. He took a wide entry into turn 1. Made the most of those two drivers battling, and now look at him. He's onto the next train whilst all of these guys are left behind fighting through this loop village section. Onto the back straight they go. Peter Jones is making moves with Derek Crowther. Battles all across the field. You can see the times on the left hand side as they approach Luffield now, getting those understeery front wheel drive Audis around this circuit. I'm going to hold it tight to this curb. Bit of a bump there from Peter Jones saying, come on, get your foot on that throttle. But if you put your foot down too early, then you will understeer off. And that is one of those attributes of this touring car. It's just that understeer. You really need to manage it. It's a fine balance in this car. You also, you really want to try and dance it round some of these corners where you want it to oversteer slightly but not too much, and then you need to get the power down but not too early, otherwise it will understeer. It's a fine car to balance. We see James Birch going side by side into Magnus Beckett. Across the grass he goes. That'll be a slowdown, I'm sure, but he keeps it on track. He's done well to keep it in control of that. As you can see, some more battling up ahead of James Birch. That's Freddie Hewitt and Chris Smith. I don't know if they came into contact there, but Freddie Hewitt's making moves. He's going to be climbing his way back up the order. He qualified quite high. He's now way out of position as he defends from Chris Smith. He moves to the outside to defend, and James Birch. Is James Birch going to make it 3 wide as they head down towards the fast right-hander coming up? It doesn't look like it. Chris Smith's probably in the best position here as he swoops round the outside. Freddie Hewitt makes yet more contact with Jack Newell, I think that was. And they make it round. Chris Smith comes out on top of that little battle. It didn't go 3 wide, but there's still fights going on. Freddie Hewitt now under pressure as he comes into the Vale chicane. James Birch and Chris Smith still going side by side through the final corner, and Chris Smith winning out again as there's contact behind. No spins happen yet. James Birch manages to keep that position. He's in P18. They're climbing up the order. Scott Malcolm here is under pressure from Neil Stevenson behind. This is for P15. Into turn 1 they go. Quick lift off for this next left as they approach turn 3. Fairly decent gap. I don't think Neil's going to send it from there. There was a bit of contact somewhere up the road, I think, as there was a big send. Oh, look, there's a car that's way off. He comes back on track. Some more contact there with Is that Freddie Hewitt again? He's really in the wars in this first race, is Freddie. A winner last time out, though. Big push there for Fraser Geraghty as he comes back on track. Down the back straight now. Is he going to send out the inside of Freddie? Not 4 wide, boys, surely. It looks like Fraser is going to get that move done. Yeah, nice and easy. And then Mark McCabe. Bit of contact there with Freddie as well. Sure, I saw Derek Crowther getting involved as they come out through the exit of Luffield now. So all the battling really happening for this P20 spot. Still a big old train. Looking back from Fraser Geraghty's car now. That's Freddie Hewitt about to get passed by Mark McCabe, that is, who slots in front as they go in towards Copse. Still side by side. Freddie's losing more positions. Peter Jones goes through. Contact with... that would be Crowther. I said I saw Crowther getting involved. Now we've got McGarity coming through. Freddie just tumbling down the order. He's absolutely getting swarmed. This is weird to see. I wonder if any of these cars have damage as Dan Thornton comes flying in, tags him and spins. That's Dan Thornton going off in the ORD car. Yeah, round he goes into the back of the wall. Contact with Freddie Hewitt again. This is on board with Dan Thornton. Into Maggots and Beckett's they go. Takes a nice move up the inside of that car, and then Freddie just swoops across. A slight touch on the front was enough to send the number 98 car round. I mean, his race isn't over. Well, his race is over in terms of position, but his car should have survived that. Onwards they go as Freddie Hewitt now drops down the order. He's in P30, but we are focusing on the battle for P6 now. Andreas Gilman being followed by Thor Hagen. We've got Butler behind, followed by Jack Johns, and then Asher and Holloway rounding off your top 10. This is Dan Mould. Feeling the pressure a little bit, I guess. 3 tenths behind is Damien Harris. 1.2 seconds back from Flarton, though. He's had a dominant race so far in the lead, but Dan Mould is going to try and hold off Harris for as long as he can. 2 tenths as Harris goes up the inside. Easily done. Gets a good exit and takes P2, Damien Harris does. Onwards, can he chase down Flarton for the lead? There's 13 minutes left of the race. 1.5 seconds to gap. Harris has the pace, but so does Flarton, so let's see what happens amongst this. Is Dan Mould going to let it go that easily, though? He's still within slipstream, which you could say is extremely strong round here, especially with all the straights. Affects you negatively sometimes, though, in Maggots and Beckett's and some of the corners. As we approach the 8-minute mark, Dan Mould P3 now, Damien Harris up to P2. You've got Ems in P4, about 4 seconds behind. Back on board, looking at Chris Smith. Sorry, this is with Neil Stevenson. Going round the outside onto the old pit straight, is this? Yes, it is. Into Copse. Surely not round the outside of Copse. Neil Stevenson and Chris Smith. They're going to try it. They're going to go side by side. Chris Smith absolutely sends it. He goes off track a little bit, but is he going to keep it on? Just about. He's going to have the inside for Maggots and Beckett's. They're going to go side by side into a section that I said is probably not advised. They're going to try it anyway. Chris Smith on the outside of that corner, inside of the next. Neil Stevenson giving each other racing room. Look at, you can fit another car in between there. Chris Smith's going to try and carry the speed through and does hold it, and Neil Stevenson shows the utmost respect and absolutely lets him have that room, and that is why they did not crash. Now look at them side by side. The battle continues, heading towards Stowe. You could crucify me if that was wrong. I guessed the corner name. I'm terrible with corner names, but Chris Smith swoops around the outside for P16, keeps that position, and into the final chicane they go. Great racing from that pair for the midfield battle here, as Ryan Embrickham just moves up a spot as well into P18, I saw. This is Hagen again, leading Gilman, Butler, Johns and Asher. Into turn 1 they go, into the village loop section. There's some side-by-side battling going on there. That is Asher and Jack Johns getting really close as they approach turn 3. Asher going to have a look around the outside. Can't quite make it done there. Jack Johns defends onto the inside of the loop. And that is Holloway trying to get a good exit round the outside of Asher as well. Can he get the run down the main straight? Whilst Johns is weaving, you've got Asher trying to make moves, but Holloway trying to get the best exit. And that's Shane Dunn as well behind, hoping that something kicks off in front as they're going 3 wide up ahead. That's Ems, Gilman and Butler nose to tail through these sections. Look how close it is. This is on board with Gilman looking behind. That's Neil Butler and Hagen behind him. And then a bit of a gap back to Johns, Asher and Holloway. Impulse Racing having a good old points haul here. Currently leaders of the constructors standings, and it shows why. Jack Johns under pressure again from Asher as they go into turn. Oh, this is Copse going around the outside of Copse as Asher goes off track. Has to give him room, does Johns. That's twice we've seen moves there around the outside off track, but he's got it done. Johns tucks in behind. A fair defence, but Asher seems to have got the move done. Up into P8 now. Onwards to Hagen for Martin. This is Ben Denyer chasing down Jessica Myers in the number 77 car. Fiercely forward. A lot of purple. A lot of purple cars. Just realised. Haven't realised that before. We have now, people. Look at Andreas Gilman. Being put under pressure from Neil Butler there. He swoops around the outside. I don't know if there was a slowdown there at all. That just looked too easy. Neil Butler is just that good, people. Andreas Gilman, under pressure, loses a position. Neil Butler up into P5. And across the line, we're past the halfway stage now. Keep an eye on that timing tower. When you see red and green swap overs, that's people racing for position. I can see Kent and Hewitt battling down there in P28. At the moment, we're looking at Gilman, who wants to chase down Butler, who's just taken a position. You've got Hagen behind in P7. And Asher has now been released. And his pace will be shown for the rest of this race, I'm sure, with 8 minutes to go. It's certainly not over yet. Holloway was looking close as well back there. Look at the slipstream. Look, the slipstream effect down this straight as we're looking back from Gilman. Brakes early though, does Hagen. Not taking any risks. Keeping it safe. As I say that, it looked like there was a bit of a nudge on the apex point. Maybe a bit slow at mid-corner is Gilman at the moment. Could be a number of reasons. No confidence on the rear end. Or maybe tyres are starting to drop off at this point. We are past the halfway stage. Tyres can matter, especially in these front-wheel drive cars. We've got Crover and Cottingham and Birch all swapping positions down there. McGarity and Peter Jones look like they're having a battle. Hewitt. Holland has dropped down the order. This is James Birch again. Look how... Oh, it gets extremely tight there with Jack Newell. Flashing his headlights. Maybe thought that was a bit naughty. Into Copse they go. Birch coming out on top. It was a big risk from Birch to shut that door that late. Really was. But they've survived this one. And they are chasing down Ryan Empringham through Maggots and Beckett's, who is the head of this train. Into the left-hander they go. Into the right. A big slide there for McCabe. Round he goes in the Scottish flag livery car. What happened here into Maggots and Beckett's? Oh, look at that late choice from Mark. Stuck his nose in to the fast S's. Just, it really shows they're so sensitive. If you tag the front end of this car, it really does go round. That's two cars we've seen that. McCabe and Thornton. Similar accidents, to be honest. Contact from the front and around they go. This is Adam Holloway in P10. Still chasing down Jack Johns and Shane Dunn behind, just hoping that things kick off. It doesn't look like he's been making moves. But at the same time, sometimes it's best to just sit pretty and hope that something happens. You could say there's three types of driver: overtakers, defenders, and sitters. Or watchers. We'll call them sitters. That's a funny name. From now on, everyone in the Discord, that's what I'm hoping to hear. Oh, you're just a sitter. To be honest though, survival is the main goal for everyone. And maybe sitters is the way forward. Shane is currently P4 in the championship, so you could argue that's the best way. Neil Butler seems to have lost a little bit of pace as he's getting hounded by the impulse cars again. Back with Chris Smith and Scott Malcolm here in the number 74. for P15. Chris is quite close to him. We've seen Chris be quite racy. We said he qualified out of position at the start. He's been finding pace all the way through the race. He's got Neil Stevenson behind. Sam Hooper's probably a bit far up the road for these two, but can Chris gain another position? He's chasing down Scott Malcolm. No moves through this section. Can he set it up nicely through the Maggots and Beckett section? We've seen it before. Team Mad Simultal Scott Malcolm drives for. ORD racing behind. Into the left, Maggots and Beckett's. Into the right. Comes out on a left hand. You don't want to cut that corner too much because that is where you get that slowdown, which undone Freddie's race. Alfie McGarrity, thought he was going to send it up the inside of Maggots and Beckett's then on Peter Jones. Number 42, Derek Crowther. Number 13 goes up the inside. I wonder if he's been let through there by Fraser Garrity. That looked very handy. Unless Fraser's got a slowdown, it looks like he might do. He's moved over and he is letting other people through. See, it's just one of those. It's a big one. You get a slowdown there, it's going to cost you a lot of time. You've got Hagen under pressure here from Gilman. They're going side by side towards turn 1. It's a dangerous move, but it can be done. Hagen holds it around the outside. Nothing comes of that. Holloway's still putting on the pressure. It's Gilman, P8, chasing down Hagen. Asher got through. He is now up the road in P6, chasing down Neil Butler. As he gets really close through the village loop. Jack Johns now looking to close in on this battle. So the more Hagen and Gilman fight, Johns, Holloway and Dunn are closing in. Coming down the straight, Gilman's looking closer. He moves out to the left-hand side. This is on board with Gilman. Is he going to send it up the inside? Not quite. Hagen breaks later. But look at that. Gilman does get his car there. Is he going to run him off? There's a bit of contact there as Johns comes swooping in with Holloway. Are they going to go around the outside of Hagen? Through Luffield, side by side. Can Johns hold it? It looks extremely tight through there. Hagen gives him the space, just about moves over on the exit. Still side by side. Gilman's got the move done. He's now up the road. Hagen and Johns side by side. Holloway's going to be hoping. Copse is not the place to get this done. And it looks like Johns breaks earlier, tucks in behind. Can he get the switch back? And there is a switch back there. Up they go to Maggots and Beckett's now. Holloway really licking his lips, hoping that something kicks off here. They're still side by side into Maggots and Beckett's, and they touch. They touch. Round goes Hagen. Saves the slide. Can he come back on? Holloway goes around the outside. Slots back in front of Shane Dunn. Wow, that was close. Shane, great reactions there from Shane to avoid any accidents. But now Hagen, absolutely ruined run down this back straight. Johns comes out, P8. Shane Dunn now in P9. Holloway, Myers, Denyer and Hagen down to P13 after losing his run. It gets really close through Maggots and Beckett's. You've got Jessica Myers now up into P10. Holloway gets a wicked switchback on the exit there as they head towards the chicane. Can he now hold it? Round the outside. Adam Holloway round the outside. He's got the lead at the moment, but Myers, breaks later as Dunn puts on the pressure on Johns up ahead. Really close. Dunn's going to lose some positions here. He does. Oh my God. Myers, look how close it's getting. Dunn moves over on Holloway. Getting confused with all these purple cars. They all look the same. It's Ben Denyer involved in that was getting really close. But Shane Dunn losing another position on that final corner. And Jessica Myers actually coming out on top in that in the end. Slotting in behind Johns and ahead of Dunn. You got Denyer and Holloway. I was getting those two confused. So Holloway now in P12. He's the BPR car. He's going to look up the inside of the flat out corner. So he must have got a good exit. But Ben Denyer says, see you later, sunshine. I got a better exit. And leads down the straight. Neil Butler in P5. Into Luffield he goes. Still under pressure from an Impulse Racing car. It's a sure this time. He's going to hold it round the outside. The number 21. Can he get a good exit? Butler is going to give him room, so he allowed the car to be there. Probably thinking, nah, not around the outside of Copse. We've seen Asher done it before in this race. As we approach the final 30 seconds, 20 minutes is nearly up. Can Asher get the run? He's done it again. I mean, it was off track again, but it is what it is. There's no slowdown there, so he's got it done. He's on the inside for Maggots and Beckett. Side by side they go. In he turns. That's where we saw the incident earlier with Hagen, and it looks like It may have even happened to Asher again as well. But Butler coming out on top. And this train's still following behind. As you've got the leaders coming round Stone now. Into Vale they go. Johns moves over to break the slipstream from Jessica Myers. Shane Dunn, Denya Holloway and Hooper and Hagen all in this train. For P8, P9. And this is Flarton. We haven't seen him all race. A dominant performance from start to finish for Luminous Racing. Around the final corner and across the line. Flarton takes the win of race 5, round 1, whatever you want to call it. Well, it's round 3, race 5. Dan Mould P3 and Chris Ems, another quiet race. We didn't see him much, but there he is in P4. Neil Butler leads this train in the end. Asher comes down in P6. Gilman P7. Johns P8. Myers P9. Shane Dunn flashes his lights. I think he'll be happy with that, to be honest, Will Shane. He had a cracking race. Some good battles throughout as all the Audis come filtering through. Let's have a look at Mark McCabe into the final chicane. This is for P25. Battling with McGarity and Cottingham. McGarity coming out on top and across the line in P24. McCabe P25. Cottingham 26. Nice little wiggle there from, I think that was Nick Kent. Well, these are your results then. Look on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. After one race, race 5, we've got one race to go with a full reverse grid, no less. But Flarton comes out on top. You could say a dominant win, even though it was only 1.1 seconds. So Harris tried his best in P2. Dan Mould P3. Chris Ems P4. Neil Butler, Asher, Gilman, Johns, Myers and Dunn round off the top 10. Holloway, Denya, Hooper, Hagen, Malcolm, Smith, Stevenson, Empringham, Birch, Crowther, Newell, Jones, Geraghty, McGarity, McCabe, Cottingham, Erwin Van Den, and then the missing name, Nick Kent in P28. Oh, do you know what? It's just occurred to me, the TNT driver from the Netherlands is Vandenberg. I have heard his name before. Currently in the standings, P29 for TNT. The drivers now have a quick break. It was a hell of a race. There were some good battles through there. Maggers and Beckett's proving tricky to be side by side through. We saw contact with Johns and Hagen. Asher at the end. Thornton had some contact through there. Freddie Hewitt probably had the worst race 5 of anyone, I think, with a big slowdown. Anyone that got a slowdown, probably not in the best of moods, but it's not over. They got a whole other race to go. It's pretty much the same thing. Same points on offer. Get your head back in the game. Pick yourself up after a bad race. And let's get it again. You're really going to see anyone that has a bad race. You can really tell the difference between the people that can really focus again or the ones that let it hang over their head. You'll see it. I imagine you'll see it in this race. But we're about to find out. Race 6 is on the way. Who's going to keep their cool and come out on top? Race 6, round 3. Here we go. 20 minutes on the timer. All of them lining up on the grid again. So far back that it goes around the final corner and away they go. Keep an eye on that timing screen. Any green or red that's moving up or down the order. As it looks like Freddie Hewitt gets a decent start. A nice easy first place lead for Freddie Hewitt after finishing last in the last race. As people swapping all over as someone's round. That's Scott Malcolm round and loses his wheel already. Let's see what happened here. Hagen in P23 just taps him from behind. Oh, keeps his foot in a little bit and around he goes. You can just hear all the nudging coming through the village loop. This is Cottingham and Chris Smith, who's down the order in the end. As they all come filtering through. Alfie McGarity in P5 right now. Got McCabe, Kent and Holland in 2nd, 3rd and 4th. As they all come weaving their way down the straights 2 by 2 into Brooklands and Luffield they go. Fraser Geraghty chasing him down, but Freddie Hewitt looks like he's got a little bit of company here in Tom Holland. He's not actually driving away. I wonder if he just struggles at this track in general, does Hewitt. I mean, he had a few slowdowns, which is why he was down there in the end. But he qualified quite well. So you'd think it would be an easy runaway as Dan Mould is still down in... he's down in 28th place, so I wonder what's happened back there. It's P2 in the championship is Mould. Flarton is P23, just ahead of Johns. As people are swapping over, you've got Mark McCabe here with Kent behind, flashing his lights in the Ginster livery. Alfie McGarity comes flying through. Under pressure from Newell by the looks of it. Into Maggots and Beckett side by side they go. There's a big crash behind. Wow, cars flying off all over the place. Let's have a look at this and break this down. Is it 4 wide there as they go? Yeah, that is a stupid decision. And then it just breeds incidents all the way down. Neil Stevenson we can see there in centre shot. Not sure we can say that was Stevenson's fault. This is a nice camera angle. In through they go. Through Maggots and Beckett's this is as Jack Johns slides his way through the inside there. Look at this. Contact, 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 and then another big crash. Oh dear, with a shameful, almost shameful rejoin. This is from Shane Dunn's point of view. Now look at the cars up ahead. That's an Impulse racing car just constantly bang, bang, bang. Maybe out of control, but then that is the result of it. And Shane Dunn says, thank you very much. 3 places in less than 2-3 tenths of a second there. Instant 3-place gain. This is Mark McCabe still getting flashed by Geraghty behind. Sorry, Kent behind, that is, in the Ginsters car. Flarton in P23. Damien Harris looks like he's out. There's a lot of cars in the pits. Peter Jones is up in P14. He'll be having the time of his life up there. He's got a Scher in front of him. Holloway and Johns behind. Johns under pressure here from Hagen. Oh, and then that's Holloway slow through the chicane. Hagen's going to have the inside on Johns now into the final corner. Chris Smith is going to get involved as well as they come down the straight. Johns runs wide a little bit, tries to come back on. They're going to go 3 wide down the straight. No, Chris thinks better of it, tucks in behind. Who's he going to follow through? Hagen or Johns? Johns around the outside of turn 1. Hagen on the inside. Absolutely keeps his foot planted. Johns was never going to survive that around the outside. It looks like Hagen was fairly committed as there's a contact there from behind. Johns is round. Off the track he goes. Chris Smith comes through the corner. What happened here? This is Gilman. Oh, there was contact with Smith and Stevenson, I think that was. Number 15. Jack Johns losing out there. Tries to get back on as quick as he can. Contact with Chris Smith and Dan Mould goes round. Got Dan Thornton up in P8 with Derek Crowther. You can hear the crunching of bodywork. It looks like Dan Thornton might have a slowdown actually. He's tumbling down the order now. I just mentioned him up in P8 and now everyone comes flying through. He's going to slow up some people to make it 3 wide into Brooklands. That's Hagen on the inside of all of this. Peter Jones as well there. Peter Jones is going to try and take a nice wide line around the outside. Can he get a good exit? Dan Thornton losing out to Hagen around the outside there. Has Peter Jones got the exit as well? Can he get that run down towards Cops? It doesn't look like he's going to make it side by side. Not quite. James Birch. Oh, very late turn in from James Birch there. Lucky, nice save though. Oh, does he save it? Yes, he does. Big old drift from James Birch there. It was a late decision to pass there from Crowther. But at the same time, it was a late decision to defend it. But James Birch has survived. Crowther in P9 now. Under pressure from a shirt. There's some more slowing up here. I don't know if these are slowdowns or just mistakes. As who is that trying to be opportunistic? Is that Shane Dunn making it 4 wide down the straight? It might be 4 wide down the straight. We've seen this too many times in this race. James Birch looks like he's definitely got to slow down as he backs out of this. Makes it 3 wide. Shane Dunn, is he going to gain some more positions? He's having a hell of a race so far. Can't quite keep it around the outside of the Impulse car of Gilman. But he could send it up the inside of Butler. Can't quite get it done there. Doesn't quite get the exit. It was Butler who made contact with Smith earlier. Apologies to Neil Stevenson. Neil Butler, the other Neil. Into turn 3 they go. This is Nick Kent. There's a big slide there from the Ginsters car. Mark McCabe now in the lead. Tom Holland in P3. Looks like he's set up a nice exit there. The number 97 on the number 12 of Nick Kent. He's going to be well in the slipstream. We're looking back from P2. Nick Kent right now. He's actually got quite a good exit. Somehow, Holland hasn't got the run down the straight, even though he's got slipstream and a wider entry. But he does send it down the inside into Brooklands, as Kent goes extremely wide. Didn't fancy an apex that time round. Lets him through. Tom Holland up into P2. Nick Kent, though, won't let him get away. Asher in P8. Got Fraser Geraghty up in front of him. Ryan Empringham behind in P9. Can really cut that curb on this newer layout. Don't want to do it on the legacy circuit on iRacing. You will get a slowdown for putting half your car on it. But the newer updated version, take it all, people. Take it all. Fraser Geraghty, P7. Through Copse they go. Coming under pressure from Asher now. Side by side into Maggots and Beckett's once again. Impulse Racing. Round the outside of the first one. Has the inside for the next one. Gets that move done. Lovely stuff. Fraser Geraghty. Wise. Backs out. Survives to fight another day and is going to get some decent points for it, I'm sure. Hagen in P12 chasing down Holloway. It's Dan Thornton and Shane Dunn seem to be swapping places back there. Thornton actually going down the order. This is Cottenham in P6 now, under pressure from Asher. Now he's been released. Hagen goes up the inside for P11 of Holloway. Can Holloway get the switch back though? We've seen him do this before. He's now on the outside for the chicane, but he needs to brake later than Hagen to try and hold it round. Doesn't quite get it done. Really checks up here if people are going side by side. Cottenham is going to lose this place. He's down to P7. Asher up into P6, round the outside of the final corner. Decent move there for Martin. Hagen now chasing down Crowther. Into turn 1 they go. Not really an overtaking spot, but he's going to try and force his way through on the inside. Has that set him up nicely for the outside of 2 and the inside of 3. It looks like he is on the inside of 3. Brakes as late as he needs to. He's got the inside line though. He's got the high ground. There's a bit of contact up ahead with Geraghty, I think that is. Who comes on side by side. Survives. Oh, Shane Dunn tags someone round. That was Cottenham. He was doing so well. It sounds like there's more contact back there. Derek Crowther now in P11, but Hagen, I think, has come out on top of all of this somehow. So big gains for Hagen up into P7. Adam Holloway in P9 is now under pressure from Shane Dunn. He shuts the door into Luffield, and they all survive another Audi train, another day. Starting to get dark here at Silverstone as Shane Dunn goes very wide onto that straight. Derek Crowther goes up the inside. And the number 42 of Peter Jones, he's having a hell of a showing up into P11, up the inside of Copse on Shane Dunn, and he gets it done. Andreas Gilman now is chasing down Shane Dunn. Has Shane Dunn got a bad run on the exit of Copse? It looks like he might do. Andreas Gilman up the inside. He can't get 2, surely. Brakes, thinks better of it. Peter Jones survives. Gilman gets up into P12. Into Maggots and Beckett's they go, but you can see Gilman got a nice wider entry there to try and get a better exit. Alfie McGarrity's under pressure from Asher here for P5. They're going side by side down the straight. Asher's got the inside line. McGarrity looks to get a switchback by the looks of it. Can't quite get the exit though, as Gilman and Jones are now going side by side in the same corner. Jones is going to have the inside to the chicane though. You've got Empringham and Dunn side by side behind. Bounces over the curb, does Jones. That's going to ruin his exit. But I think Gilman would have had it done anyway. Had the inside on the second phase of that chicane. Gives a nice run out of that final corner and across the line as we approach the halfway stage. It's a halfway stage. There's been so much going on as Dan Mould and Empringham swap over positions. This is Fraser Geraghty in P8. He's got Holloway behind him and Hagen in front. Holloway, look at that. Gets a nice wide entry. Tries to get the switch back on Geraghty. It looks like he's got a much better exit, but has he used too much of it? Moves over to the left. And most of his run seems to have gone. I wonder if he just caught up Geraghty too fast on the exit of that corner. It's going to have to be a right send. Gilman now has Geraghty and Crowther, the same team, in front of him. I wonder if they'll be working together to try and keep him behind. Tom Holland, he's having a decent little race. I know what you're thinking. Spider-Man swinging his way through to P2, but he's got Nick Kent all over the back of him. Only 2 tenths behind in the lovely Ginstead livery Audi, inspired by Tom Ingram. Loves the sausage roll, that boy. Andreas Gilman still chasing down Crowther. It looks like he's got a hell of an exit there. Can't slot into that gap though. Which way is he going to choose? Crowther, is he going to defend the inside? Look at that, he swoops to the inside. It didn't matter, Crowther was too slow on the choice, shall we say. Andreas Gilman's going to have the inside, but Crowther might get a nice decent run around the outside. It looks like it might be done. Is it going to continue? Can Crowther get his foot down and get a switch back? No! Andreas Gilman up into P10. Lovely move. Onwards to Fraser Geraghty, unless Crowther absolutely sends it into the chicane, but he doesn't. He keeps it safe, and away they go. So now Geraghty is his next target for the Impulse Racing car. Chasing down the Insignia Racing car of Fraser Geraghty. And look, he's all over the back of him down the main straight already. Into turn 1 they approach. Nicely done, carrying the speed through there. That's Alfie Holloway up the road as well. Number 55, Fraser Geraghty. Into turn 3 they go. Impulse Racing Gilman right behind, closing that gap. Are there any differing lines into the village loop? No. Should be a fairly even exit, although it did look like Gilman got on the power slightly earlier. Flat out through there, so no real gain, but slipstream heaven for Gilman now as they go down the straight. What's Geraghty going to do? Is he going to hold his line? Moves slightly to the inside, but not fully. Keeps a nice open line into Brooklands. Gilman on the left-hand side now. He's going to try and get a nice wide entry to get a better run. He can't hold it around the outside, but he might try and get a switchback. He can get his foot down earlier as there's contact up ahead with Hagen and McGarity in the wall. The number 69. What happened here? Oh dear, that was clumsy from Hagen, if I'm honest. Upon first viewing, and then around he goes. Gets an extra tag from Alfie just to be sure. Get out of the race, he says. McGarity now going to tumble down the order, I'm sure. But Fraser Geraghty still holding on to P7 from Gilman as they go through Copse Corner. But Gilman, look at the run he's got. He now moves over to the right-hand side. We've seen this before. Into Maggots and Beckett's they go. But fair play to Insignia Racing's Fraser Geraghty. Absolutely keeps the speed through the first apex, which he needed. But now look at this. Who's going to get on the throttle earlier? He's going to have slipstream as Gilman down this back straight as Nick Kent is under pressure from Asher, who's in P4 now. So having a hell of a race. And this is going to be fairly easy, I think. Up the inside into P3. That is a done deal. And it looks like Gilman might have just passed Geraghty as well. Dan Mould passes Peter Jones. There's passes going on all over the place. But Asher up into P3, now chasing down the rest of the order. Shane Dunn leads this little group. Peter Jones losing speed there by the looks of it as Adam Holloway comes into the pits. I wonder if he's got damage from something. Geraghty now way down the order after that accident that we just saw. But Tom Holland has already got Asher for company now. With 5 minutes to go, can Asher win this? Who knows? 3 attempts to P2. P2 looks like a done deal. And then a further 3 seconds to Mark McCabe in P1. Tom Holland, though, probably getting dizzy. I don't think he's been this high before. Up the order, I should add to that. Asher, up he goes into P2. He said it might be fairly easy, but Tom Holland smartly not overly defending for the survival and a potential podium. But he's got Nick Kent still behind him. Dan Mould is up into P9 after an earlier incident, so he's had an okay race. And his championship rival is down in P16, so Dan Mould wouldn't be too disappointed with this as he tries passing Fraser Geraghty up the inside of turn 1. Fraser very respectful there. It's not turn 1, sorry. It was the old turn 1 going into Maggots and Beckett's. Copse corner. Yeah, Fraser overly respectful there almost. I think that was a little bit of an outside friendship letting him through. Or maybe not. I think Fraser's the type of person to fight. Just didn't want to take the risk. Smart driving from quite a few people. This is Scott Malcolm down in P23 chasing down Sam Hooper. So there are still battles going across the field. It looks like Alpha McGarrity's just come out the pits. Up the road from Jack Johns and Dan Thornton, even further back than that, but on the same lap as this group of cars, as the rest of them look to be out. Butler, Denyer, Hewitt and Stevenson seem to be out of this race. This is Flarton then, your championship leader for Luminos Racing in P15 with his championship rival Dan Mould in P8. Nick Kent is in P4. Chasing down Tom Holland. But he's got Jack Newell right behind him. All over the back of him. You can see Tom Holland right there in the same shot. There he is. It's such a hard choice. What do? Do you just not defend and hope to catch up to him? Or do you defend for your life for P4 and let Tom Holland get away with the podium? What are they going to do? But Jack Newell's not waiting around. He's flashing his headlights. He's weaving his headlights. He's flashing his headlights, weaving across the track. Really letting him know that he's there. Come on, Kent. Move out the way. Feel like I'm faster right now, says Nick Kent. No, Jack Newell. Come on, people. Hagen's had an okay race as well, actually, after that contact. He's in P6, so he'll be getting some decent points. Derek Crowther is still behind his teammate Fraser Geraghty. He's got Shane Dunn for company now. Shane's been jammy this race, I think we can all agree, for Spud Motorsport. There's been some luck involved. He's been handed some nice little positions. I mean, he's been there at the right time, so it's not just luck. But look at the run he's got at the exit of Copse. He's looking up the inside of Derek Crowther. Oh, would have got tight through there into Maggots and Beckett's. There's only 2 minutes left of this race, so Shane Dunn's looking for a top 10 finish, but he's got to get past the pair of the Insignia Racing boys, who might be working together. Crover's just playing rear gunner to Fraser Geraghty right now. Look at that. Fraser didn't know which way to go. Who does he want to give slipstream to? Shane Dunn round the outside of Stowe. Looks like he's got the run, to be honest. Derek Crowther's now going to be under pressure into the final chicane. Look, Shane Dunn, can he break later on the inside? Derek Crowther round the outside. They go through. Bounces over the curb, does Shane. And Derek Crowther holds on. He has the apex to the second part. And away he goes through the final corner. We've seen it so much. You bounce over that curb and it ruins so much of your run. They need to be careful that Peter Jones doesn't catch up to him here. Chris Smith's still battling with James Birch. These two have been together on track pretty much for both races. Battling away for P13 this time round. James Birch just holding on. So can Chris Smith gain another position? This is Thor Hagen and Gilman going side by side. Gilman making the move here. This is the exit of Maggots and Beckett. No, it's not. It's down Brooklands towards Luffield. So Gilman's on the inside. Hagen's now on the inside for Luffield, though. Can Gilman hold it round the outside? He's going to give it a go. They are fully side by side. 37 and 85. Can Gilman get the run? It looks like he's got his foot down early enough. They're still side by side, but Hagen's going to have the inside here. Plenty of room given. Down towards Copse they go. Gilman might have enough of a run to be ahead before the corner. Not quite. Hagen's still on the inside as they enter Copse. Side by side they go. Can he get it done by keeping it on track? He kept it on the black and white curb, does Gilman. Could say that's slightly better than his teammate who passed off track 2 times in the last race. But look who's joined him. It's Dan Mould, your championship second place runner-up at the moment, has joined this battle now. Gilman couldn't quite get the move, so Hagen driving brilliantly now. As we are on the 20th minute, so this is the final lap. Gilman to the inside, bit of a touch, squeezes his way through. Hagen moves right over. Dan Mould all the way over to the left. Hagen and Gilman side by side. Dan Mould up the inside of Hagen. Here they go. There's a bit of contact there. Oh no, Dan Mould's round. Hagen comes back onto the circuit, tags Dan Mould's rear, and around he goes. But look at this battle up the front. Mark McCabe is going to take the win of race 6, just ahead of Martin Ascher, 1/10 of a second. Tom Holland does get a podium with Newell in 4th at the end, passing Kent. Gilman comes ahead of Hagen after the contact. Geraghty, Crowther and Shane Dunn round off your top 10 as they all flash their headlights. Dan Mould ends up in P12 with Chris Smith getting the better of James Birch as they cross the line. And then Flarton in P15 with Empringham in 16th. Wow. What a finish. Mark McCabe, give that guy a big round of applause. Number 68 independent driver wins race 6 by 1/10 of a second. 0.111. Couldn't do that on purpose if you tried. Great drive from Ascher though in P2. Tom Holland P3 does get his first podium of the season. Jack Newell P4 does get the better of Nick Kent in the end. Gilman comes out on top of the Hagen fight. Geraghty and Crowther will be happy as teammates there. Peter Jones P11 with Chris Smith behind. James Birch P13. Flarton in P14. Empingham 15. Chris Ems 16th. Adam Holloway 17th. Dom Cottenham in P18. Dan Mould P19 in the end. Not a great day for Dan Mould. Your championship standings, though, look like this. Flarton in the lead still, 268 points now. 40 points ahead of Dan Mould. Ascher, P3. Shane Dunn, P4. Gilman, 5th. Chris Smith, 6th. Jack Johns still in P7, just behind Chris. Ben Denyer, Derek Crowther and Jack Newell round up your top 10. James Birch, Mark McCabe now up in P12 after that win. Michael Seal, Nick Kent, Tom Holland, Scott Malcolm, Fraser Geraghty, Neil Butler, John Siemens and Alfie McGarity round up the top 20. Chris Ems, Neil Stevenson, Craig Walters, Boston Fuse, Freddie Hewitt down in 25th, Peter Jones 26th, Ryan Empingham 27th and Damien Harris. We had a great first race. I don't actually remember where Damien finished in that second race, but there he is in P28. Erwin Vandenberg 29th, Don Cottenham P30, Hugo Allen, Adam Holloway, Jessica Myers, Thor Hagen, Sam Hooper, Dennis Ronsdorf, Leon Graves, Dan Thornton, William Martin and Philip McMahon in the top 40, and then John Johnston and Fiona Siddons, your last point scorers in P41 and P42. Well, there you have it. Races everywhere. Your championship standings for the teams looks like this. Impulse Racing take the lead, 432 points. Ignia Motorsport, 353. Just behind is Spud Motorsport with 331. Luminous Racing P4. Insignia Racing P5. Ignia Motorsport Spark in P6. Team ORD P7. Simply Digi Racing in P8. Pulsus Esports in P9. Marshmallow Racing in P10. Full Send Racing. Track Obsession. British Sim Racers. Team Mad Simmortal. Fiercely Forward. SRL Simulation and Racing Leagues. Freddie Hewitt Racing. BPR Esports. Assumed Road Racing and TNT. Your top 20. Tanzo Racing Group, Distinct, NZ Sim Network, PWA Esports, and the rest. The rest of those constructors all down there. Well, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys are as knackered as I am after watching those two exciting races. On to round 4, races 7 and 8 next time out, and it's our first non-British track, Oran Park Raceway. If you check the websites, you can see all of the rounds, all of the details, all of the stand-ins of vbtcr.co.uk. Oran Park next. We hope to see you on this channel. I've been your host, Jack Johns, over on the Racing Line. Go give me a follow, and we'll see you soon. Peace!